I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my YouTube channel and the website Global Math Institute. In this video, we are considering 5 very important questions based on operations with radicals. These are type of bonus questions which you see in test papers. I'm calling them radical tips. Understanding solution of these will help you understand many concepts and get a command on this particular topic. Well, let's go through the questions first. Question number 1. Square root 128 is equal to square root 2 plus square root x. Find the value of x. Question 2. Square root of 3 square plus 3 square plus 3 square and so on is equal to 9. How many 3 square are in the radical? Question number 3 is true or false. Square root of 4 plus 9 is equal to square root of 4 plus square root of 9. Justify your answer. Is 1 minus square root 3 solution to the equation x square minus 2x equals to 2? Explain. Question number 5. Find quadratic equation whose solution is 1 plus minus square root of 17 over 4. Brilliant questions, right? I'd like you to pause the video, answer them, and then look into my suggestions. Well, in case you want to learn from me, feel free to send an email on the address given. Let's look into these solutions one by one. The very first one is square root of 128 is equal to square root of 2 plus square root of x. So what could be x? This is what we need to figure out. How can you find this answer? Well, let's explore the left hand side, which is square root 128, right? So 128 is basically equal to 2 to the power of 7. Do you know that? Well, just multiply by 2's. 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. Times 2 is 64. And times 2 is 128, right? So what you get is, do you see this? 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. And the 7th 2 makes it 128. So it is 2 to the power of 7, right? So we can say this is 2 to the power of 7 square root is equal to square root 2 plus square root of x. Well, this you could write as 2 to the power of 6, right? Times 2 square root, correct? Makes sense? Which is square root of 2 plus square root of x. Well, this you could write as 2 cubed square root 2 is equal to square root 2 plus square root of x. Now that should give you the solution, right? Can you write down the answer now? Okay, pause the video and write down the answer. So I'm taking my time for you to finish it off, right? So you can say the square root of x basically is equals to 2 cubed is 8, right? 8 square root 2 minus square root 2. Makes sense, right? So square root of x is equal to 7 square root 2. Perfect. 8 square root 2 minus square root 2. Now what is x equals to? Couple of ways to do it. You can take 7 inside, right? So it'll be square root of 7 square times 2, which is 49 times 2, right? Which is 49 times 2, which is square root of 98. And so x is 98. Makes sense? So that is how we could actually solve this particular question. Clear? Now let's take the second question here, which is we have the series of 3 square plus 3 square plus 3 square plus so on, right? And we want that total to be equal to 9. So obviously what we could do is just take 3 square common, and so we get 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus so on plus 1, right? And we want that to be 9. Well, 3 square means I could take 3 outside, right? So I have here 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus so on, right, equals to 9. And clearly, what should that ones be, right? That total should be how much? Well, I want 9. Basically, I want this sum of ones, right, square root, to be equal to 9 over 3, which is 3, right? And that is possible only if I have within the radical 9, correct? So that is possible only if we have square root of 9 here, right? That is 3, right? So that means how many 3 squares do we have? We have 9 3 squares. Do you see that? So that is how you could answer this particular question. Interesting? Let's take a question number 3 now, which is true or false statement. So we want to figure out whether it is true or false, right? The statement is square root of 4 plus 9, right? Or we are looking at square root of 4 plus square root of 9. Well, clearly it seems to be incorrect, right? So we say, well, this statement is false. Now there are many ways to show that this is false. How? Well, that brings us to 13, and this is like 2 plus 3, right? Which basically is 5, and we know they are not equal. So that is one way of doing it. Another thing which you should look into is, well, we took very good numbers here, which helped you to solve and get the numbers to calculate. But remember this, that if I have a plus b whole square, then it is equal to a square plus 2ab plus b square, right? So this term, which is like 2ab in the center, makes that not true. You get the idea. So if I square both sides, I'll have 2 times square root 4 square root 9, which is 2 times 2 times 3, which is 12. So the relation will be that they are not equal, right? Perfect. Well, here's question number 4, which is 1 minus square root 3 solution to the equation x square minus 2x equals to 2? How are you going to do this? Well, clearly, if it is a solution, substitute, right? Sub 1 minus square root 3 for x, right? And check. Makes sense, right? So let's do it. So we have x square minus 2x equals to 2. So let's begin with the left hand side, right? So left hand side will substitute x as 1 minus square root 3, right? So we have 1 minus square root 3 whole square minus 2 times 1 minus square root 3. Let's expand this. 1 minus square root 3 I could write as 1 minus 2ab, which is 2 square root 3, and square root 3 square, which is 3. And then here we have minus 2, and we have plus 2 square root 3. And what is this equal to? Well, clearly 1 minus 2 square root 3, this minus 2 square root 3 and plus 2 square root 3 cancel, right? And we have 1 plus 3, which is 4, and 4 minus 2 is indeed 2, right? So we get this as 2. So we see, well, that is equal to 2. So we have left hand side equals to right hand side. So both simplify to 2, right? So that means, yes, it is a root, right? So that is how you could show that this is a root of this particular equation. The last question here. I hope you are understanding the concept and the strategies which are being adopted. Well, in case you want to learn from me, you can always send an email on the address given. The last question is a very interesting one. You need to find the quadratic equation whose solution is 1 plus minus square root 17 over 4. Now, we are given two roots, right? So one way is you can do x1, x minus x1 times x minus x2 equals to 0, where x1 is 1 plus square root 17 over 4 and x2 is 1 minus square root 17 over 4, right? And find the answer. However, this is a very lengthy process, and therefore I'm going to share with you a very important strategy right here. You remember, while solving quadratic equations of the type ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0, the value of x turns out to be minus b plus minus square root of b square minus 4ac over 2a. Now we can use this to find the equation. So we have to just do the reverse, right? We are given that x for us is 1 plus minus square root of 17, right? Over 4, correct? So do you think that can help you to get the equation? I think yes, right? That is the strategy. So clearly that 2a is equal to 4, a is equals to 4 over 2, which is 2. So we got one value, which is a equals to 2. Makes sense? Now b, directly you compare b, right? So what I'm trying to say is just compare these values, right? So if you compare, we get what? We get minus b equals to 1 or b equals to minus 1, right? So that becomes the value of b. So we have found both a and b. Only thing left is c, right? C is what? Well, b square minus 4ac is c, right? b square minus 4ac is what? Well, within the radical, we have 17, right? So 17 should be b square minus 4ac. We know what b is. Minus 1 square. Minus 4 times a is 2 for us. C we don't know, so we'll figure it out. So we got 1 minus 8c equals to 17. Rearrange. Right? So we get 16 minus equals to 8c, and divide by 8. We get the value of c as minus 2. Correct? So we got the value of c also. That is to say, we got the quadratic equation, right? So the quadratic equation is a value of 2, right? So it is 2x squared. B value of minus 1 minus x, c of minus 2, right, equals to 0. So that is the quadratic equation whose solution is given to us. You see that? So with that, we have actually solved all these questions effectively within very limited time, right? So I'd like you to actually go through this series once again, understand their solutions, and I hope you appreciate it. Feel free to write a comment, share your views. If you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for your time and all the best.